If you're thinking about buying a home in Prescott, Arizona, there's a good chance you've already come across a listing that's perfect in every way except for two little words at the bottom of the description: private well. And maybe you saw those words and your stomach dropped a little. You started picturing the well running dry, expensive repairs, water you can't drink, and a whole list of things nobody thinks about living in the city. In the next few minutes, we'll walk you through the real truth about living on a well here in the Prescott area, what actually happens, what it actually costs, what you should look for before you buy, and the misconceptions that scare people away from some of the best properties in our area. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what questions to ask and whether having a well is right for you.
So before we jump in, I'm Jessica.
I'm Lisa.
And we help people all the time who are doing exactly what you're doing right now, researching property from California, from Washington, from the Phoenix area, or from somewhere else, trying to figure out if this is the right next chapter.
Let's start with a question we get asked fairly often, and that's why so many Prescott homes are on wells. The first thing to understand is that wells are not unusual here. They're completely normal. A large percentage of homes in and around Prescott, especially the homes people are dreaming about, the ones with land, the ones with views, the ones with horse setups, or the ones with pine trees, or where there's space between you and your neighbors, are on private wells. That's just how this area was developed. Prescott is not a flat, master-planned grid like Phoenix. We have mountains, granite, national forests, and large parcels that were built long before city water lines ever reached them. So when you start shopping in places like Williamson Valley, Walker, Groom Creek, parts of Prescott Valley, and Chino Valley, or anywhere in the county outside of the city limits, you should expect to see private wells on many of those listings. It's not a red flag, it's just a different system, and once you understand it, it becomes a non-issue for most buyers.
Let's go over how a well actually works. But first, let's take the mystery out of wells because most of the fear comes from not knowing how they work. A well is a hole drilled down into the ground until it hits an aquifer, which is essentially an underground layer of rock or sand that holds water. A pump is lowered into that water, and when you turn on a faucet inside your home, that pump pushes water up into a pressure tank in your garage or pump house and through your pipes just like a normal house. You don't pay a monthly water bill. You don't get a meter read. You don't deal with a city water department. The water on your property belongs to your property and you're the one in charge of it. That sounds intimidating at first, and we understand why, but most homeowners on well out here forget the well even exists. It just quietly runs in the background, the same way your air conditioner does.
Let's get to the number one question, and that's, will it run dry? This is the fear we hear the most, and we'll address it directly. People watch a news story about drought somewhere in the West, and they assume every well in Arizona is one bad summer away from going dry. The truth is much more complex. Some areas of Prescott have very deep, very reliable aquifers that have been producing water for decades. Other areas are shallower, and recovery rates vary from property to property, even within the same neighborhood. That's why when you're buying a home on a well inspection is one of the most important inspections you can do. We look at the well log, which is the official record of how the well was drilled, how deep it is, and what it produced when it was first put in. We look at the current gallons per minute, which tells us how fast water comes back into the well after you use it. We look at the static water level, which is essentially how full the well is right now. None of this is a guessing game. All the data exists. The next big question is about quality. Is the water actually safe? Will it taste funny? Will it ruin your hair, your appliances, or your laundry? Here's the honest answer. It depends on the property, but it's almost always manageable. Most wells in our area produce perfectly drinkable water. Some have hard water and benefit from a softener. Some have a slight mineral taste and benefit from a whole house filter or reverse osmosis system at the kitchen sink. A few have specific issues like iron or arsenic that need targeted treatment. The key is that the water gets tested as part of your due diligence before you buy the house. You get a lab report that tells you exactly what's in your water, bacteria, minerals, contaminants, all of it. If something needs treating, you'll know up front, and you can either ask the seller to address it or factor a treatment system into your numbers. We've never had a buyer end up with a water surprise after closing because we always do the work on the front end.
The next question is, what does it actually cost? This is where we think wells get an unfair reputation. So let's give you the real numbers. Day to day, your water itself is essentially free. The bigger costs are the occasional ones, and you should plan for them. A well pump typically lasts somewhere between 15 and 25 years, sometimes longer. When it eventually needs to be replaced, you're usually looking at a few $1,000s depending on the depth of the well and the type of pump. A pressure tank lasts a long time too, and is a smaller replacement cost. If you add a water softener or filtration system, that's a one-time install plus occasional maintenance. None of these are scary numbers, especially compared to what you were probably paying in property taxes or HOA fees back in California. You just need to know they exist so you can budget for them.
Another question is, what happens when the power goes out? This is something city water buyers never have to think about, so we want to make sure you do, because your well runs on an electric pump. When the power goes out, your water goes out with it. For most outages, which are short, this is a non-issue. The pressure tank in your home holds enough water for a flush or two and some hand washing. For longer outages, there are a couple of solutions. Some people install a whole house generator that automatically kicks on when the power drops, which gives you full water, full power, full everything until the grid comes back. Others keep a portable generator and a transfer switch and run essentials when they need to. And having a generator is really important if you plan to have horses or cattle, as each animal can drink 10 gallons of water or more a day. It's just a normal part of rural living, and once you have a plan in place, you genuinely never think about it. We can talk through what makes sense for your specific property when the time comes.
If you take nothing else from this video, take this list. Before you buy a home on a well in Prescott, you want to do 4 things. First, pull the well log from the Arizona Department of Water Resources so you can see how the well was originally drilled. Second, do a flow test to measure how many gallons per minute the well is producing right now. Third, do a quality test through an accredited lab. And fourth, inspect the well equipment, the pump, the pressure tank, the wellhead, and the electrical so you know the condition of what you're inheriting. This is not a leap of faith, it's a checklist, and once it's done, you have real answers, not fears. We've walked a lot of buyers through this process, and we can tell you the ones who feel the most confident at closing are the ones who did the homework up front.
Let's quickly clear up a few myths. Myth 1, well water is dirty or unsafe. In reality, it's tested, it's treatable, and millions of Americans drink well water every day with no issues. Myth number 2, wells are a constant headache. In reality, the vast majority of well owners spend little to no time thinking about their well. Myth 3, a well will hurt your resale value. In reality, in this market, buyers expect wells on rural properties, and a well-maintained system is a non-issue when it's time to sell. This is the one we really want you to hear. The homes that scare people the most are often the homes with the most lifestyle to offer. The acreage, the views, the privacy, the room for horses, the pine trees, the quiet, those properties are almost always on wells. If you let the word well eliminate every listing it appears on, you'll eliminate most of the homes that brought you to Prescott in the first place.
So what do you think? Is well living right for you? Here's the takeaway. Living on a well in Prescott isn't for everyone, but it works great for a lot more people than you might think. If you want a lower maintenance, plug and play, never think about it home in a tidy subdivision with city utilities, those homes exist here and we can absolutely find one for you. But if you're drawn to the land, the space, the lifestyle, and the kind of home that made you fall in love with the area, learning a little bit about wells is one of the best investments you can make as a buyer. Once you understand the system, the testing, the cost, and the maintenance, the fear disappears. You stop seeing private well as a warning label and start seeing it as your water, your land, your independence. And in a town like Prescott, that independence is a big part of what people are actually moving here for.
If this was helpful, the next video we want you to watch is Everything's Changing, New Changes That Have Prescott Talking. We'll link it in the corner. We'll talk about new mixed-use developments, a redesigned Granite Creek Park, trail upgrades, more events, more traffic, and one controversial project that locals are deeply divided on. And as always, if you're seriously starting to plan your move to Prescott, our information is in the description below. We're happy to be a resource for you, whether you're ready next month or next year. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.